Attention gamers. In life, there are a lot of numbers that I probably should care about, like my credit score, my GPA, my bank account balance, or how many girls I can get at parties. But I am a League of Legends player, so the number for some painfully controlling reason that I care the most about is my LP, which is low, and hasn't increased in years because I play ADCs who have no CC in a game where more CC equals more GG, but I am stuck always losing LP, complaining about how everything else in this game is OP. But not today, boys and girls, and whatever sneaky feels like being today. Today I present to you with a Legends life hack better known as the Dark Harvest Mage support. Here is what you do. Pick support, lock in one of these magic late game mega douches. Ban this rusty tin twat because one hand shake is all it takes to introduce you to your own fountain, and then rock Cherry Poppins Dark Harvest in a rune page that looks like this. And that's it. Before you know it, you'll be rocking KDAs like the ones mommy and daddy tell you only exist in magazines and movies, as you are just spawn camping poor little piggies on repeat. And instead of having to focus on farming or being a fragile defenseless right-clicking AD quote-unquote carry, you are in charge now because you know best, so you get to call all the shots.
Bruh.
And you are still bot lane, so you get to make all kinds of new friends in solo queue that you get to have those classic duo lane water cooler inside jokes with. So in this video I slap some obese walking gargoyles with my cookie cutters, and then I light some unsuspecting ash holes on fire, and finally I play a few games of I don't need to see you to piss in your mouth LeBlanc. Now if you are excited to see the power of sitting in a bush during laning phase and poking useless ADCs until your darky stacks turn you into the late game hyper carry, please slap that upward thumb button on this video and subscribe for more. Also, don't forget, me and the boys are doing another giveaway that's global and has tons of completely free ways to enter, where you can win an insane PC or just 2,500 buckaroos of cold hard cash, so check the link in the description for that hotness. The first game starts off great, considering our jungler is that long-legged starving tree who has some friendship complex with jungle camps, or some shit. Somi and Plasma Patty are playing Peeping Tom in the bushes, which results in the Pulsefire Twinkle Tits taking a tour of my cookie cutter, handing me a darky stack, and then dropping his sums faster than the I'm Stupid shirt sell out at Yasuo mains conventions. I take a walk up river to deal with this raging baker who's trying to abuse our pet water crab as Daddy Longlegs puts a seat belt on him, and I add a few more C's to the equation. The poor posture ninja makes me all tired, so I flash away to get a better view of the tiny Viking molestation fest in the bushes before he tries flashing away from Lanky Bob's auto attack. Rough break for the moron. A minute later and I have that slouching shitter glowing like he's in an icy hot commercial, so I put him in a star cell, and then we promptly move the file named Shen support to the folder named irrelevant. I hang around to tattoo some Super Mario stars onto my ex-BF, but I receive a notification that Sergeant Stone Simp is in the area, so I take the scenic route to safety as Plasma Patty gets taunted, knocked up, and blue bananaed as I save the day by shooting a Q at Timbuktu, leaving me so we are doomed, but I hang around with some decorative autos to make the trade even. Then I go pop a pinky in the shrubs like a responsible adult, which puts me in a sticky situation when the blonde boy shift shitters through my plan A, so I quickly pull out plan B, which is to drop my flash like it's on fire and then laser beam the loser as Lanky Bob and his waddling pet Boulder come in to ensure that these bitch boys continue having an awful time. We are just casually running around in their forest with no vision, which results in the dumb dwarf whipping a loaf of bread at me, baiting him into a surprise party featuring my whiff Q and a star steal for me to take the cake maker. Then Yone dies as is tradition with that windshitter family, and I light the shadow sloucher on fire to let him know not to mess with me when I am wearing my pink tutu, and then I tell my Q to follow the dotted line to let Sergeant Stone Tits have some alone time with Fat Daisy. Then I am just coming back from the shops with my brand new magic jizz procker when the airhead politely asks the red team to stack up so that I can deliver a very efficient sunburn, which immediately results in 2 dead bitches, a free dragon for us, and an obese crying statue in the back of Dragon Pit all alone saying he just wants to go back to Fountain. But turns out Yasuo syndrome is genetic and his brother is missing a few chromosomes as well, so I run mid to play damage control before firing a cookie cutter that I will now slyly classify as a prediction, and then I promptly emit a giant death laser out of my petite belly button for the kill. I get word that people are not happy with my jungler planting bushes in the middle of their lane because they are more into a simplistic modern style of landscaping, and at some point the argument turned violent and now 3 of them are trying to pull the purple wings straight off Patty's back, so I catch some air with my Q before deciding that a quick game of bush beam the bitches would be more fun, which leaves my poor blonde boy running, glowing, begging, and ultimately dying without doing anything useful. Then I decide to take a quick day trip up north because this is gold after all, and unless I come to them we will probably never get to meet, so I come in and my top says hi I like drawing sparkly diamonds, and their top says hi I am stunned, so I say hi I am fed, and our first meeting goes pretty well. Back at mid and I have the red wolf over my head, which in this elo just means that someone is about to do something greedy, and sure enough Sergeant Shitstain comes flying in just to get cookie cuttered and bursted down before Shen is able to crawl out of his stone asshole. I guess my top laner felt guilty when I told her people were talking about having not met her, so she comes up with the brilliant idea to introduce herself to 4 very pissy people all at once, so I come in and say whoa 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 eat my ass you angry baker, but it's not enough to save Diamond Darla from her bad decision. But it doesn't seem to matter, as the team with a Dark Harvest mage support and the world record holder for longest legged length bush running around like maniacs all game is the team that gets to enjoy a relaxing fountain fucking to kick back and unwind after a long day of making 5 players hate their lives, and that, my friends, is the epitome of League of Legends. Time for game 2 to prove that cute blondes who emit giant death lasers out of their levitating possessed bodies aren't the only ones that this strat works with. And I have to admit I was slightly concerned when I saw the other team had a Dark Harvest star slut trying to exploit this dank strategy, but it seemingly all works out when she lands a snowball that baits her into getting flash fireballed by your boy, and then I slyly drop a ticking Tommy on Peacock Headdress Caitlyn, which helps that wingbat win the fight. But don't worry, this is solo queue, so it's not like my autofilled ADC overextends like a double jointed elbow and immediately hands a giant sack of cash back to their carry or anything. So I do what any concerned support would do in this situation: grab a hairy hunk from the local swim club and go team Flanky Frankie as I tunnel hard onto the support, ignoring the ADC because she is the real threat. This is League after all, and despite color me Caitlyn bear trapping me as a desperate attempt to get my attention, I say nah, I am more into blondes than whatever the hell tri-colored hair you have going on, as Water Gun Graves gets his nut. Turns out Prismatic Zelda is trying some funny business when she thinks I am not around, so I come in to demonstrate that when dealing with a fleeing Felicia, you sometimes just have to whip out your flash fire the bitch combo to show her who's boss. Then deep inside my big burnt brain I decide that having my squishy ADC blatantly eating a bear trap would be the perfect bait until Kate Root scoots her way out of my master plan, so I toss her a hot potato and scream bloody murder, which ultimately results in me being tied up and forced to watch my girl get the shaft as if we're filming some cuckold vid for the hub. But I could give 2 shits who's banging that babe at this point, as I immediately come back to lane, ignoring the entire Red Robe Academy in favor of something more appetizing as I sync up a pyro pillar to show the power of a 2-kill Dark Harvey support. This is followed by a quick trip mid with the plan to have a nice surprise waiting for the Wind Twin when he gets back from his spiritual journey, but turns out dead bitches are hard to surprise, and since I made the trip mid for nothing I decide to hang around for a bit, which turns out to be a good call when I see a very glowy wall hopping Harrison just begging for me to light a match under his ass to nab some quick cash. That said, leaving a useless ADC all alone is never a good idea, so my midlife crisis to go find myself while traveling the world results in them getting the tower and the pink sex ant coming in to stir the pot, but I toss a flaming hot potato at the ladies, which is enough to make them second guess their actions. We hold a mandatory team meeting at Dragon Pit, no excuses unless you are dumb and dead like Oriana, so our top laner ports in with a play worth noting as she immediately decides to dash into a bear trap, eat a few pellets and then retreat right through a swirling snowball to finish off her flawlessly executed performance. Bravo you dumbass. We take tower, which makes me crave a quick game of tickle titty torture under a tier 2 turret as I light the shrubs on fire, but when I notice my stun lands I hit a Dua Lipa 180 to toss over a scalding skipper, which initially leaves me with a pair of burnt blue balls until 6 light years later Rift Alexa announces a successful homicide. A fight mid lane breaks out as Mommy Longlegs wall humps her way in to eagerly draw a homicidal hexagon on the ground, so I follow up with a pillar of pyro, and unfortunately for Talon, wall parkour is no substitute for stop, drop and roll. One last fight breaks out where Mr. Yone my head's baloney saves 3 of us from a Lux laser, and then the pink sex ant stings me, and I admittedly could have played this game better, but hey, at least I am not the mouth breather spamming better jungler wins in all chat as if he didn't do the least damage in the game by a landslide. As a Graves, yikers. Alright, and lastly I feel it was time to show off this strat on a less conventional support by whipping out the electric green bean. And for reasons related to my mini-map and my eyeballs and the two of them refusing to work together, I start this one out 0-1, but shortly after I have both bots begging to back as I hit a QW combo into Brussels sprout stun. Here's some fire for the road on the gun slut as my ADC contributes by chatting with the statue for a bit. Then I immediately come back to lane and Nickelodeon slime zone the scrub before tranquilizing a hooded midget employee, which allows a train of pain to be delivered straight to her dumb face. We see that yelping Yeti rider Jay chilling in the shrubs, and even though I thought it was common knowledge that the blue recall beam typically ends in the person going bye-bye, apparently Senna didn't, as she decides to get greedy at the wrong time, so I play a quick game of I don't need to see you to stun dat ass, which puts her on a prompt dying spree. I come back to lane just in time to see the dead dock worker charging up the whiff herd around the world that his kids will read about in history books for centuries. The story ends with him being pacified by a floating electric green bean bear trapped and shot to death. Then the yelping Yeti comes down trying to get festive, but I ask him how he plans on snow plowing me when he is freaking stunned, and then I unload on him before launching the power plant quarterback simulator to toss a few sky boys, prepping his anus for a Kate ace in the a-hole. Our pressure has attracted the furry white claw to make another visit, which doesn't go any better for him a second time as I drop sky nukes and our jungler comes in to be absolutely useless, but my green drops are enough to scare off Obama's wife and the abominable snowman, setting the stage for me to inform the Brit that her ult won't be needed anymore. And at this point I am 3-2, which you may think is not that strong, but I think it is time to illustrate the power of cherry popping mage supports, starting with me simply asking the first lady where her health went. Then I go flanky Frankie Pike, soon to be cranky, with a quick combo from the back door. Wait, look at that slouching Ninja Turtles health, hurry up. Oop, never mind, that shit disappeared faster than a fart in a fan factory. It's like I am an electric death fetish Oprah. You get a death. And you get a death. And you get a, well, I don't know what this moron was doing, but, you get a death. And yeah, you can probably imagine they have had enough of death fetish Oprah, so they all decided to peace out, and that concludes my Rav's guide to being an annoying piece of dark harvesting shit in the bot lane. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and Patreon supporters, you are da bomb diggity, so you keep being you, and the rest of you start watching my off-meta shizu on my second channel, because it ain't easy being this cheesy on the real, yo. Pet your dog, jerk your ween. I have been advised to be inclusive and say ladies flick your bean, and finally, as always, brush your teeth tonight. Rav freaking out.